What's going on, guys? Welcome to a new video and welcome to an Ask Jenna. It's probably been a little bit since I've checked in with you guys and you've checked in with me. So we're gonna shoot an Ask Jenna, and I got some questions from Twitter. But the first question I have is a question for you. Have you ever purchased something online, put it on, taken off the tag, and then actually looked at yourself and you're like, I don't really like that? Well, that's how I feel about this shirt, but we're just gonna have to live with it. Okay, what's my biggest regret? My biggest regret is letting myself get out of shape, because trying to get back in shape is very, very, very tough. Obviously, it's been a very weird year, and gyms were closed, and just, I don't know, the motivation wasn't there, a lot of things happening in the world, and I let myself get out of shape, and trying to get back to where I was is, it's tricky. So I don't know if that's my biggest regret in my life, but that's my biggest regret of 2020. Is the PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X better? I honestly can't answer that because they're both great. I've been playing both of them so much, and it's a different experience. Like, you can't really compare it, like pros, cons. Everyone has a preference. I really don't care, but I still do kind of prefer Xbox, only because I don't even know how to explain it. It's just something I prefer because that's where most of my friends are. But when I'm playing Sackboy on PlayStation 5, living my best life with that haptic feedback, I'm like, wow. Do you like doing your own nails during quarantine? No. I bought like a whole gel manicure kit. I did it like twice. And then I realized how much time and effort and money I'm saving by not getting my nails done. Every time I would get my nails done, it would probably be like $120. And I would lose 2 hours of my life. Actually, I'd probably lose 3 hours of my life because I had to drive there. So I'm saving money, I'm saving time, and I'm not putting harmful chemicals like on my body. So I think that this is a win-win. Would you recommend switching to an M1 MacBook Pro if I already have a 2019 Intel MacBook Pro? It depends on what you do. I mean, my 2019 fully maxed out MacBook Pro is still great, but for video editing and going back and forth between the M1 and the Intel, I'm noticing a huge difference. I have to say the M1 is so silent. The fan basically is just silent, and I haven't noticed as much heat either being put off from it. Like when I'm editing with my Intel MacBook, it's burning my lap. Whereas with the 13-inch MacBook M1, it's like not happening. So I'm always probably gonna recommend the M1, especially moving forward, because Apple is kind of pushing out the Intel, devices. If you don't need to upgrade right away, I definitely wouldn't. But if you're buying new, I would wait to get the M1 or get whatever is out. Should I get an iPhone 12 Pro now or wait? If you want to get it now, I'd get it now. What are you waiting for? Like the next phone? I feel like it depends on what you have, because if you're coming from like the 10s or the 11, it's like not too much of an upgrade unless you really want the 5G. It's really all about preference. Fall's pumpkin spice or Christmas is peppermint? Peppermint all the way. Which tech are you most excited for in 2021? I'm excited to see what happens with the M1 chip and that whole line. Like, is there gonna be like an M2, an M3? Like, is there gonna be a 16-inch MacBook Pro with the M1? Like, what's gonna happen? We don't know. Also, maybe some cars. I'm excited to see what happens with car technology. Am I enjoying the new Call of Duty? Yes, I am. Nuketown 24/7 has taken up a substantial amount of my time, so that's been fun. I haven't played the campaign yet. I miss Warzone, but I'm definitely having fun just playing the multiplayer. Did I successfully heat up the turkey in the oven? Oh boy. So I was kind of in charge of the Thanksgiving between a very, very, very small group of friends. It was a whole thing. I learned about roasting pans, and it turned out great, and I ate mac and cheese like a 12-year-old. Aperture Lighting, have you and Justine ever thought about switching channels? Like, you actually played a prank for the last few years where your name is really Justine, vice versa? That would be like a 14-year-long prank. We can't think that far in advance. That would be silly. Greg wants to know, were they on a break? Friends. I mean, I guess technically they were on a break. Like, it's Ross and Rachel. They were on a break, but they were not on a break. Like, that was the wrong behavior, Ross. I would be mad too. What are you most proud of? Proud of Maddie. Like, I tell Maddie every time he goes potty, I'm like, Maddie, good potty. Like, I'm so proud of you. Hey Jenna, best camera for filming but not loads of money. I currently use iPhone 12 Pro, but wondered if I'd get better results from a $500, $600 camera. Honestly, the best camera is the camera that you have, and the iPhone 12 Pro is a really, really good device for a camera. If anything, I would probably be like, why don't you invest in maybe like audio audio or lighting, because this is a good camera. Thankfully, the iPhone is pretty great in low light, so my recommendation would be to invest in audio. One thing that you like more about iOS than Android and vice versa. So the one thing that I like about iOS is honestly, like my favorite thing about it is iMessage. The fact that I could have my messages on my phone, my computer, my iPad, like it's just the universal thing. It's so nice. Am I excited that it's almost December? And 2021 at that. I'm confused how it's almost December. Like, where did this year go? I think I sat right here for all of it. If you could change one thing about yourself, what would it be and why? I feel like I would like to be able to speak more languages and be more fluent in these languages. I realize that's something I can change, I just need to learn it. Then that would actually like to handle my time management better, because then I can do more and I can learn more. So I feel like if I were able to have a better grasp of my time management, that would allow me to do a lot more things, but somehow I'm just terrible at it. Seeing as though we're nearly at the end of 2020, what have you learned most about yourself in this difficult year? Well, I learned that this career is not guaranteed. So at the beginning of everything shutting down, I lost basically like 90% of my jobs. And just because companies were like, we don't know what's gonna happen, everyone is pulling everything, we don't know what's going on. So in those like 3 to 4 months, I was kind of like, oh, okay, like this is kind of scary. So I was like, well, I'll start doing other things. So, I started streaming on Twitch and I started just kind of doing things for myself. Thankfully, everything kind of picked up for me, and I'm very, very thankful to have a job. And honestly, I don't even want to say it, but things have actually been going very, very well for me. And I've been working with brands that I never thought I would work with. So I think I've learned to not really take things for granted, especially when it comes to like work and health, because that all could change instantly. So I think what I've learned is to not take things for granted, and no one's really promised tomorrow, so to just try to be positive and leave a positive impact on the world while we're still here, and to just be nice to people. What's one of your biggest struggles making content? Well, definitely this year I wanted to focus more on travel content, which obviously didn't happen, so I'm very thankful that it was tech season and the year of tech, because I was able to work from home and make content about that. I think if anything I struggle is shooting videos by yourself sometimes it's like, what else can I do? Like, how do I make this exciting? How do I make this fun? So just trying to figure out, what format works. And I feel like I really need to branch out, and I think I'm scared. I'm kind of scared to like take that leap. What's my favorite food? Pizza, digital PS5, or the disc version? The disc version. Do you want to play Nuketown 24/7 later? Yeah, I'm not crazy. How are you handling the new iPhone 12 Pro Max size? Too big, just right? Are you used to it now? I love the camera. Here are my pups, Bentley and Charlie. Okay, well, Bentley and Charlie are very cute. The phone's definitely a little bit big. It's kind of, a lot to get used to. I actually am going to be posting a video about these cases and why I need them, because I am reckless, but I have to hold it with 2 hands. Show us your stock portfolio. I do have some stocks, and I've also been invested in cryptocurrency since like 2015. So I got to ride that wave of fun. Never actually cashed out though. So then I also got to ride the wave of depression, but then it went back up, so then I was like, yay, but then I also never cashed out, so then I'm like, no. So crypto has always been like a fun little like passion project. Who even knows, because it's like, think back to when Bitcoin was a thing and it was probably like $1. People are like, oh, I'll buy some Bitcoin, and then however many years later it hits $20,000. Imagine me in 10 years being old and like Ethereum just taken off, and I'm like, oh my gosh, when I was young and hip, I bought some Ethereum, let me open up my wallet, and I could be rich. Or I could lose everything. Hard to tell what's gonna happen, but that's why it's a gamble. But if anything, I just like the technology behind cryptocurrency. I think it's interesting, and well, I don't know. Why not take a risk and see what happens? What do you hope becomes normal after the pandemic, and what's something that you hope goes away after the pandemic? So something that I hope that becomes normal are people washing their hands and honestly wearing masks on a plane. Like, I'm all for that. Like, I don't want you're breathing your air as you're sitting next to me. Like, keep your air close to you. So I like not being around a lot of people. Not gonna lie, it's kind kind of nice. One of the things I obviously hope that goes away are the fact that people are sick and dying and hospitals are just overwhelmed. And, you know, a lot of people are like scared because it's a very scary time. So we can do without that. Okay, last question. What inspires you to keep making videos and doing what you love? I mean, honestly, you guys inspire me. You send me very nice messages and emails and notes, and you guys are always just so nice and so supportive. And there's days where I'm just like, I don't want to do this. And then I get a nice message where it's like, hey, I've been having a really hard time. I've been watching your videos, and like, you just keep motivating me to, you know, to be a good person and to, you know, do what I love and just to be here. And I'm like, oh, really? So honestly, the motivation that I get from you guys is what makes it really all worth it. Like, yeah, obviously working with brands and having this be, you know, my career and my livelihood is incredible. But the stories that I hear from you guys is what matters the most to me. Thank you guys so much for being here. Make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you again soon for a new video. That's not a coaster.